Good evening, everyone. This is Vera Sadler, your host of Tuesday Talk Live. Welcome to this month's series, and it is Black History Month. So, welcome everybody to the Black History Month series. And I am so excited tonight to have my guest, one of my friends, because he is a business owner, but he's also a business owner who did some business at my house. And we like to celebrate our business owners. But again, I'm Vera Sadler with VLS Coaching and Tuesday Talk Live, the host of the program. And I just, if you're not in the room, if you're not familiar with the program, or if you have a friend and you are familiar with the program, tell your friends to join us, to hop online right now and be a part. And so I'm going to have my guest introduce himself, tell you where he hails from, and then we're going to hop into an engaging conversation. And I want to kind of focus, just so to preface this night and the forthcoming nights, hopefully, I want to have guests that come on this month and just highlight some of our African American business owners or influential individuals. Pardon my dogs, someone must be outside, but influential business owners. And just, Cory, one of the reasons why I asked you to come on, because I want I want our young men, our young women to know that you can be successful. You can do something other than be in the streets or what people may tell you. I grew up with people telling me I can't, it won't, it's not possible. And as we both see, it is possible with the Lord's hand on your life and with obedience. So I wanted to highlight individuals like yourself that are an example of what happens when you, one, say yes to God, and two, when you apply yourself. And so I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud to see what the Lord is doing in your life. And I want individuals to see people like you in our skin this month doing what's right. So introduce yourself to our audience and kind of just tell them where you hail from and what you do.
Well, hey everybody. This is Cory Anderson, owner of Blessed Homes Renovations LLC. I also own Flipping Bless LLC with a partner. I hail out of Red Oak, Texas. My office is in Waxahachie, Texas. Been in the business, owning my own business for 5 years now, and just continuing to try to shine light, try to be different than, just a regular business, try to establish relationships and trust and understanding that we're here to be, here for you, not just, hey, we're just here to get a job. So that's one of the things that I really always try to do is tell people it's about the work we do, our clients, and our team. Caring about those three factors are big principles of how I do just life in general as well as business.
Well, I appreciate that because I know when you came to my house, and we had to quote out a project and we talked about it. I had a lot of nervousness, as you could tell. I'm a nervous
Hmm.
nanny and I wanted things done, but you walked my husband and I through the project. You walked us through what our concerns were. And there were even some things where we thought we knew. But Cory, you took the time to explain to us, well, no, this is what this means. This is what this will do. And you explained to us even the odds and ends of um, what things were and what they weren't. And it became, and that was what, a year and a half, maybe, I don't know if it was a year and a half or 2 years ago. You did another project after that. And because of that, what you said, a relationship, I'm looking at you doing something else as soon as I get the funds for it. But we've built that relationship. It's not just about a one and done. It's about, it was how we felt comfortable with how you treated us, how you communicated with us, and the follow up. I would like to say that was also, you have stayed in communication, you have stayed in connection with us. You have, hey Vera, I'm just reaching out, just, and it wasn't about reaching out to say, do you have any jobs that you need done? It wasn't even that. It
No.
was, hey, this is Cory, I just want to say hi. I want to say happy holidays. I want to say, hey, you guys doing all right over there? So I will attest to that I think when we are looking at a lot of our business owners, and then I want to say also, you stood by what you said you were going to do. I remember one day I was like, this isn't right. I didn't feel comfortable with something that the team did. because you had multiple. I remember at that time you had multiple. I think it was summertime I was getting it done. There were multiple projects coming by, and you said, "Let me come, let me check," and you made sure things were done. And
Yeah.
so I appreciated that. Um, and so we, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say this. Sometimes we don't always trust the people that we do business with, Black business owners, because we say they don't stand by their work, they have to do a job, but we don't. I don't feel like that was done. I feel like you came in and you made sure the team got the job done. So tell us, what got you started in renovations?
Well, I've been learning a little bit for several years. Probably before I owned this company, I started doing carpet with a friend of mine. His dad had a carpet company, so I was learning how to do carpet and tile in that in like a commercial setting. From there, I started doing a little bit of remodeling for some other people and started just kind of really enjoying going into a space, doing the work, coming out of it, looking totally different. Really took pride in that, just in the restoration process of restoring somebody's house, seeing that smile, being, very proud of going and making a difference in somebody's life was something that I really latched onto, and it was like going to work with purpose instead of going to work
Yes.
and just being like, okay, I went and did the same routine and just felt like I, checked another box off. Uh, with that, I later on just kind of started looking, taking a step back and saying like, if you're continuously working for people in this line of work, how far will that get? Because I looked at my mom's, story. She worked for corporate world for, many, many years, many decades.
Hold on, Corey. I'm trying to get this to go ahead.
Oh, but like, yeah, my mom worked in the corporate world for like many, many decades, and when she got older, they, wound up selling the company and she was training the
Hmm.
person that was going to take her job. And it was just crushing for her. And I was just like, I don't ever want to be in that position where you dedicate yourself to said company and then your life's in disarray at an older
Mm-hmm.
age and they're saying
Mm-hmm.
you're overqualified and all these other things, so it really started to open my eyes to like wanting to own my own thing and
Mm-hmm.
be in the driver's seat of where I'm going financially to the best of my abilities to work that thing out myself, because if you're going to work hard and dedicate yourself to something, I think that it's a higher motivation to do it for yourself when you begin to believe that you're
Yes.
capable to do it. So, God began to show me that I would be in a leadership position, that I would be somebody that owned my own stuff, be a CEO, and just started really educating myself and just started trusting and believing in the vision. And I would tell people like, "Hey, this is where I'm going to be," and I could tell some people believed it, some people didn't believe it. But as long as what God tells you, you believe in what He told you, then that is the biggest factor. Having the faith that God gave you something, and making sure that you're putting forth your part of His plan to bring it
Yes.
to the fruition of what you're expecting it to be. I don't take it for granted. I remember working out of a Kia. I remember my pastor at times would let me use his truck to get materials to jobs. Just, the
Mm-hmm.
resources and relationships are so important to success, and in my relationship with God comes first, but he's also blessed me with other fundamental pieces of people in my life that were there when I needed that next thing to get to the next step. So having my uncle believe in me and loan me the money to get a LLC and to get my $1 million insurance, it felt good to have support. And then it also felt really good to pay him back and like, you made whole, you made whole, you did what you said you were going to do. You honored what you said you was going to honor, and You know, my
Okay, so
mom,
stop right there for a minute. Stop right there for a minute because I wanna hit on something you just said. One is having a good support system. Two, getting your LLC, because I want to ask the question about when you reached out to set up this business, because my husband's a business owner as well, and get an LLC. Is it really that difficult to set up an LLC? Because I think some people may say, oh, well, he has his own business. He can, he maybe had somebody to do all this for him. And some people may be listening, Cory, and think, oh, that's impossible. That's so difficult, filing those papers and doing all that.
mhm.
I understand the next step about doing the insurance, but um, tell that some young man may be out there listening to you, or some young woman may be listening to you. Can you just allude to that track or that process? How simple or how difficult it is filing for your LLC?
It's relatively simple. It's like, there's so many different ways you can do it. You can do it yourself, and it could cost you, a couple $100 maybe to get everything set up. It's really just a bunch of formalities and then waiting to get your EIN number. You can also pay somebody, three, I think 400 bucks, and they can get everything set up for you, and get you to all the paperwork you need based on whatever type of business it is that you want to go into. And then you go get your business account set up, and from there you're a legal business. You've got that uh, EIN, which is basically like your social security for your business. It's your
Yes,
identification
yes,
of your business, and it allows you to operate separately, limitedly, but separately as a business, and not just yourself. It allows you to begin to establish credit for that business and not just yourself, and allows you to begin to build a separate life, because when you're doing business as a proprietor, that means somebody can come after you and everything you own.
yes.
As opposed to an LLC, it limits them,
From
to
coming
what
after your
being able.
personal assets.
Yes, and that's a nightmare if you wind yourself
Hmm.
into a situation where you and a client don't agree, or they feel like
Hmm.
you done something wrong by them and decide to sue you or whatever. Then you at least have some protections in place to guard your personal life from your business life. So, yeah, but it's really very simple, especially in Texas. We make it
Yes.
pretty simple to establish a business. Main thing after that is just learning the ropes of the things that you have to do. You have to keep up with your quarterly filings and all of those different things, but it becomes second nature over time for sure.
And so I'm so glad you mentioned that. And I'm glad you mentioned the fact of separating our personal from my business. I had another guest on here. She's actually my loctician, and she talked about that also, about how so many times people make the mistake of commingling and not separating, and it's difficult to continue to run business. And I found it very easy here too in Texas to establish. It was actually easier here in Texas than it was for me when I established my business in New York.
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
it was it was so easy to set it up, and I have a limited liability as well under the VLS coaching, because as we know, everybody's not always happy with what we say, what we do, how we do. But I'm so glad you mentioned that, because we want people to understand that there is possibility. Not saying quit your job, just go and establish a business, but there's another thing that you mentioned here. You said your uncle loaned you some money.
Hmm.
And I just want to touch back on that because, and then you said you were so happy that you were able to pay him back. Because sometimes we'll borrow money, but because we've had bad credibility, people don't want to take a risk.
Yeah.
So that piece that you said at the end, not just the fact that you borrowed the money, but that you paid him back, lend to your credibility. One, it lent to your integrity, but your ability, and your uncle saw something in you. So even if now you had to say, hey, uncle, I want to expand, or I want to do this, and I want to do that. If he had it, you're trustworthy,
Hmm.
so I wanted just to hit back on that so individuals will know that we have to prove ourselves sometimes to people if we want them to help us
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
advance, and we want them to help us move down this road. We want them to help us move the yardstick. And sometimes we're frustrated with others because they don't come alongside. Well, have you proven that you are trustworthy? Have you proven that you are a viable investment for somebody else to stick their neck out, for somebody else to pour their resources into? Because it doesn't make sense for me to have my resources and they just, going out the window. It
Hmm.
makes sense for me to pour into something that's going to give some kind of return, or that it's a good resource. So I really appreciate you mentioning that part. Tell us a little bit about, what do you enjoy the most about the business?
Well, in this phase of this season of my life, the things that I really enjoy about this still is establishing the relationships, and then beyond that, doing the exciting projects. Like, you come in and after you've done the same thing so many times, it becomes to just be redundant. It's like, okay, how many, kitchen remodels have we done? How many,
Mm-hmm.
change out the cabinets or put some floors down or, paint a room? I'm still thankful to get those projects, but the ones that really perk me up, the ones that really get me creatively thinking are those like exciting jobs. Like, we've never done a shower like this before. It's got six heads coming out of it. It's got water coming out of the ceiling. It's got, this is big enough to have five, six people in it, or hey, we're going to take this house and we're going to change the roof structure. We're going to add a bathroom to it. We're going to add a master bedroom to it, or we're going to make this house two times bigger than it was. Um,
Man,
we're
I
doing
need
a
you to do
metal
that to
building.
my house, Corey.
Well, we got a project right now that we're working on, and this is one that I'm like, I perked up at the beginning of the year because, a lot of times people don't realize that in the world of contracting, you have your up and peak seasons, and then you have
Hmm.
your kind of slowdown seasons. And Thanksgiving and Christmas, for most contractors that are
Hmm.
doing the type of work I do, is where it slows down because a lot of people are not wanting people in their house, working on this and that,
Right,
people
right,
getting
right.
ready for family and so on and so forth. So, um, we had some jobs on the docket to start the year off, but it was still kind of getting the gears back going to where we're at
Hmm.
normal speed. And I think it was January 1st or 2nd, I got a call from a client that we had went and quoted some work for, I think about 2, maybe 3 years ago. And it was a
Wow.
large project. And he was like, hey, I know it's been a while, but I'm ready to go. We want to push the button on getting this thing going, and that's a two hundred
Wow,
fifty
that's
thousand
awesome.
that's a $250,000 project. So
That's
we're going
awesome.
to be in that project. We initially were going to build a second living space inside of a metal building she had. And the way God works, it may not always be the way you plan it because we had all the plans and stuff in place. But when we went to the city, that was like, we don't allow anything to be secondary living to be 650, more than 650 square feet. So I was like, oh my God. And we found a pivot, and she was
Mm.
like, well, what about adding on to the house? And I was like, well, that's way easier because they'll let you add on to your house, your existing
Mhm.
property, as much as you want. But as long
Wow.
as you don't go into your, you pass your setbacks and all that stuff. So we've made a pivot. We're in the process of getting all that put together. Everything's a green light with the city. We know everything we need to do with that. And we're going to add another 1,200 square feet,
Wow.
pretty much like a second living quarter to the main structure. So those are the type of projects that I get excited about because you are like opening pages and in the creative space of doing something that you don't get to do on a regular basis, and there's a lot of moving parts, and you're watching this thing formulate and become like from on paper, from a thought to actuality, and you're like, man, look at this. You got a full living space you built. coming from somebody that used to be happy to get a baseboard job. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we got some baseboards
That's
over here. Get over
amazing.
here and do it. So,
And then
um,
I just heard you say something. Well, sometimes things are not always, God doesn't do things always the way we want. And I
mhm,
always try to somehow allow the hearers to hear the wonder working power of God in what we're saying and what we're doing, because sometimes we forget just how magnificent he is in what he does. Sometimes we're like, God, I don't know what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, but I do know that God is a God that pulls out all stops for us. And
mhm.
sometimes we don't see it, we don't know, we don't even know how, but he is a God that works miracles. And I'm so excited for you. Can't wait till the day I call you back and say, hey, Cory, you remember that busting those walls out, doing that whole may just be a kitchen, but for me, it's a whole vision. I
But
have a
see, those
whole,
are jobs
you
I
know,
get excited about. I'm just talking about the kitchen jobs where it's like, hey,
just
paint
put
these
on some
cabinets.
cabinets.
Yeah, paint these cabinets. Put me some backsplash up here. It's pretty simple, but like, I'm excited about another job we got going on. It's a kitchen remodel, but we removed the wall. We're creating an
Mhm.
island where there used to be the washer and dryer. We're
Wow.
totally transforming that space. It's not just take these cabinets out, put them back in the same place, paint them a different
Well,
color
you know my
type of
vision
thing. Yeah,
because
yeah.
you
So
gave me a
those
picture, and
those are
that's like
things
a
like
whole,
that. That's
that's
definitely an
like a
exciting
gut.
project because you are doing renovations. There's a difference
Mhm.
between just coming in and doing a remodel job and a renovations. Like you are
So tell us what's the
changing.
difference.
So when you're doing a renovations job, there tends to be changes to the aspect of said structure or said space.
Okay.
Like when you're doing a remodel job, most of the time you're keeping many of the things the same. You may be changing out some of the different components of it. Like you might be changing the cabinets, you may be changing the floor. But when
Okay.
you're doing a renovations, it's like, hey, we don't like this wall no more. Let's get rid of that. Hey, in order
Oh,
to
okay.
add this room to the back of the house, we're going to have to change the structure of the roof. Hey, we're going to make our patio 2 times bigger. So you are changing the dynamics of the actual thing and not just changing components within the space.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I have a question here, since we are talking during Black History Month, and I wanted to highlight Black business owners. Can you
Mhm.
tell our guests, whether they're listening now, they're going to listen next week, next month, next year,
Mhm.
because people do go back and listen. Um, as a Black business owner in this field, in the
Mhm.
construction field, in the renovation remodeling field, do you find that you encounter different or the same challenges as your um, Caucasian or whatever other counterparts? Or do you think that Black business owners have maybe the same challenges, or there's some different challenges?
Well, I'm going to speak for myself. I can't speak for all Black business owners. I'm speak for
Okay.
myself. When I look at being a Black business owner, I'm trying to move the needle. And when I say that, I'm saying I'm trying to hold myself to a higher standard. I'm trying to be on time. I'm trying to do all of the things that a professional, respected leader should do when it comes to engaging you in a business. Um, yes, there are things that you hold yourself to a higher standard because you don't want anybody to look at you and let that be the reason. Your color has now become the reason that I
Exactly.
distrust what you are doing or what your company stands for, so on and so forth. If there's a disagreement, then let it be a disagreement on something that is just we didn't understand each other, or we not because I didn't come in and I was lazy or any of these other stereotypes that
Mhm.
may come into place. So in the earlier phases, I feel like it played some part because you were not known.
Okay.
And one of my big things was about establishing yourself, setting the foundation, beginning to retell the same characteristics about yourself over and over and over again till your reputation begins to precede you as you go into things. And over time, I feel like being honest, that God has allowed me to do bigger and greater things than some people that have been in the business much longer than me in
That's
a
a
shorter
blessing.
period of time. So I'm
That's a
always
blessing.
giving God thanks. I'm always giving Him the credit, but I also know it's a part that you have to do in His plan.
Yes, yes.
I really do care about the people whose home I go into. I really do want it to be more than just a business, which was one of the statements I used to associate with the brand, which I still do. But at the end of the day, your relationship should be
Mhm.
the foundation of something that's going to last beyond just I came in and I did something for you.
Wow.
Because
That's
if you
powerful.
feel like somebody is just there clinically to do something for you, guess what? We don't have it's not about what's said, it's how it's said sometimes that makes the big difference. I tell my kids, I'm like, if you are wanting somebody to receive something, you need to think about how you're saying it. If you tell your
Mhm,
sister to shut up,
mhm.
she's gonna look at that different than if you tell her, hey, do you mind being quiet? Do you mind like your approach? You're saying pretty much the same thing, but how you're saying it is either
Yes,
going to be
yes,
received or it's going to be rejected.
yes.
And I really try to hone in on building that foundation that, hey, this is more than just a business because after this business is over with, you're still going to hear from us. And it's not going
Mhm,
to always be about like, hey, what do you got on the docket for us to do? It's just,
mhm.
hey, I noticed your birthday was on listed on Facebook, or hey, I seen a question you had about going to the gym and you was asking, what's some good ideas. You know, these are the aspects of real relationship. I'm
Mhm.
here because I actually care about you and beyond just work, like I want to see you win and be a part of you winning, as well as I hope you want us to win and be a part of us
Yes.
winning.
I mean, you and I have
Reciprocal.
chatted about various conversations because at first I didn't even know you were a member of the church I go to. And then
Hmm.
we've chatted about different things like, oh man, have you heard about this? Have you seen this? And we've had very meaningful conversations, which I have enjoyed. And it's about building a relationship beyond the dollar and beyond the
Hmm.
pocketbook. And I
Yeah.
think when you find someone that that you can build that relationship, you trust them. I don't know about other homeowners, but you trust them then to come into your home. You
Yeah.
trust that that person, they're not just there to throw up some plywood, put a wall up, but they're going to do what you ask. I remember just even this small office project, that was just a small thing, but I didn't really know how I wanted it. But all I could say was, I got this idea. I just don't like the dogs pushing the door open and knocking it over. And I mean, my husband and I kept throwing back ideas. And just by talking to you, having that, conversation and you listening to the ideas and the thoughts of, we wanted something different. We wanted to be able to go in and out, have our privacy, but also not make it a bedroom or just those French doors. I was like, ugh, but we wanted a certain look. And after meeting with you and talking with you, it was simple. You were like, hey, have you thought about this? And, we were talking about that barn door look and we didn't know how it would play out, but you were able to help us. I mean, I think that's what a good business owner does. They know their product.
Hmm.
I guess that's what I'm trying to get to. I think also a good business owner, whether it's construction, renovations, or me coaching, whatever you do, you know your product, so you can help the client find the customer, the person you're servicing, find that right area where they need to. Because we sometimes we could be all over the place, like hey, here. And that good person, when you build a relationship with someone, you can bring them back here where they
Yeah.
need to be. And I felt like, especially with that room over there, you were able to help bring us back
Mhm.
to get that. And we love it. It's just what we needed, and service a perfect purpose. It's a great statement. I mean, I've had people come since we put it up and say, man, this is really nice. And just know that it wasn't there when
Mhm.
we moved in, but it's something that, it has a great look. Everybody that walks in is like, this is great. So got another question for you.
Okay.
When you and you can hop in, say whatever how you feel, but um what has been, other than the challenge of making yourself known? I know that you have teams and crews that work with you. As the owner, because I think a lot of people don't understand, owning and working for a company is totally different. We
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
What would you say as a business owner have been some of your major challenges, but also some of your greatest joys?
Huh. One of the greatest challenges for me, I think, is like when people tell me I can't do something. That really motivates me. And it's not just like anything, but like things that I'm envisioning myself doing, and people saying you can't do that. I think I made a post, I think a year, maybe 2 years ago, just highlighting a lot of different things that people say I couldn't do. People
Wow.
were saying like, well, you could own the company, but you'll never be able to not be outside of like not being here at every job, making sure it's
Mm,
done. Um, that was a challenge I took up on myself because I'm like, I believe I can. There's other people, plenty of other people that have established a company, worked in that
mhm.
company, worked their way out of being right there on the production side. And, you
Right, right,
know,
right.
that was a challenge, being at the beginning, working to get leads and also be working at the job and then coming in and turning those leads into estimates, burning the candle very, very long into the midnight hours on many nights for quite a while. And just that was one. People told me you can't establish your business being right here local. You got to go wherever the work is at. And I was like, I believe I can. I believe there's houses all around me and there's opportunities all around me that
Hmm.
will allow me to be able to work right here local, establish a hometown feel of like, hey, here's somebody from your community that is, wanting to do excellent by how we treat you,
Hmm.
by,
Hmm.
approach to establishing that we are looking for quality teams to come in and do your work, and that we care about the people that we have as well as the work that we're doing. You know, leaning into that, establishing that name here in Ellis County and right outside of it. That was a challenge,
Sorry, I'm
but
trying to
it
close
was,
this door.
yeah, yeah.
Go ahead, Cory.
That was a challenge, but that was also a victory of seeing that come to fruition. Another one was you would never be able to not work on weekends. And that was a big one because a lot of times, when you're
Homeowners
working,
probably want you to work on weekends. Get it done. Get it done.
mhm,
Get it done.
yeah, yeah. So that was a challenge within itself, but getting to a place where you are working to live and you're not living to work. You have
Wow.
that time cut out for your family. You have that time where you cut off work and, you're able to put on your different hats that are necessary to have that balance in your life. So those are some of the challenges that I faced that became victories over time.
Wow. Amazing. I hope that the listeners who are listening, watching this will really, and I love the name of the company, Bless Homes Renovation, will really hear what you're saying and see how the Lord has taken, like you said, the guy who was getting jobs to do baseboards, but now you have developed a company, one that is not just a job for base sports, but a job where you're doing homes, you're doing it local, you're doing the things that you put before the Lord, and He has really granted and blessed your hands to be able to do. But you're not blessing your hands, but you're a blessing to the people that you go in and you serve. And it's a possible, I guess the big thing I want people to see is possible. We're
Yeah.
told so much, just like you said, I can't, you won't, it's not possible. But to hear your story and say it's possible, you don't have to go out in the street, and gang bang and just settle for here. We don't have to settle for basement bottom, level, as they call it. We don't have to say this is all that's afforded to me. You
Hmm.
can strive, and it takes some work though. From what I'm hearing from you, it took some work. You worked at IKEA, and anybody that ever shopped at IKEA know it's not pleasant. That was had to be
No,
some
no, no. I was
grueling and some
working out of
hours.
a Kia. Hold up. I was working out of a Kia Spectra
We're
car.
out of IKEA.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kia Spectra car. Like, yeah. So,
Yeah, but still, it took some work, right?
yeah.
It took, I mean, I've worked all my life. I've worked since I was 15 years old. And thank the Lord, bless the Lord. My husband turned 60 today, and I'm going to be 60 in a month. But we've worked our lives to be able to get where we are now and to do what we do now. And just to be able to tell people it's possible. It's possible to be a business owner. It's possible to do something. You don't have to settle for bargain bottom basement life. You can strive to be the best version of yourself. And one of the last questions I have for you are, what are you looking forward to as this next year comes forward? I mean, however, what are you believing God to do for Blessed Home Renovations? What are you believing God to do for the Anderson family?
I mean, first and foremost, I think that I wanted to touch on this before I got to that question is that it starts with getting into a mindset of putting good stuff in you.
Mm-hmm.
And however you see that good stuff for you is different for everybody. But if you get in the practice of putting good stuff in you, it is inevitable for good things to begin to come out of you. Like for me, it was my relationship established with God and be starting to believe what He said over me versus over what my even myself and other people may have thought that my life was going to be. And then once you get into a practice of that, you'll begin to be a magnet to the things and the people
Wow,
that
so
you
good.
need to be around you to succeed. They will accelerate your process faster than people that you would have wondered, how am I passing these people? It's
Mm-hmm.
because you get into a practice of feeding yourself good stuff. And just like with the natural body, when you feed yourself good stuff, you're going to get good results as an outcome of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I changed the music that I listened to, that opened up my mind to different things. When I started going to different places that
Mm-hmm.
were enamored with good things about it, then I began to be in a different atmosphere that was feeding me something different. And the different things that I was involved in that I began to take and say, let me take time to read. Let me take time to listen to something that's going to educate me. Let's do this. Let's do that. And before you know it, you begin to be from not having much to add to subject matters to having things to add to the subject matters of different topics you never
Amen.
thought that you'd be able to speak on. So, success is what you make of it. But I would say when you get into a mindset that you want good things inside of you, then you're on the right track to start having blessings to start happening in your life. And then as far as what I'm looking for 2025,
Mm-hmm.
I shared a message on this with my Bible study, and that's about uh, a consistent pursuit of relationship with God and being in His presence.
Yes.
And that's, and the three key areas, are you fellowshipping with your brothers and sisters in Christ on a regular basis, not just here and there? Are you making time to be in your word and not just check the thing off, but actually study it and make time to hear what God has to say to you? And then the next thing, are you really having a genuine prayer life? Are you owning up to the things that you know you need to do better? You know you made a mistake on, and let's get this thing right. For
Mhm.
me, those are the key factors. I need to consistently be in His presence because this material
Mhm.
stuff comes and goes, but your relationship with God is going to be with you to the very end. So
Yes.
um, I really want to get locked in on that for my personal, for my family. We do family first nights on Tuesdays, which is usually today, uh, which is where I get my kids. We tune out, we take off all of the technology. We spend a portion of time doing spiritual. We spend a portion of the time bonding, and we spend a portion of that time having like a fun activity to do with each other. Just being family, teaching your kids
How
that
powerful.
family is family, not just some people you're living this life with because you have to. So for Blessed Homes, we're really uh, highlighting and promoting large projects as well as the roofing aspect. We really want to get our name out there in the roofing, and let that be another chapter, another uh, service that we're able to do for clients and elevate as a service of who we are as a brand. So,
Well, Corey, I really appreciate you sharing with us. So, for anybody listening, I have been talking with Mr. Cory Anderson. He is the owner, the proud owner of Blessed Home Renovations, and really just highlighting how the Lord has blessed his life to be an owner here. He is out of Waxahachie, local out of what you office in Red Oak, or you
no,
office
no.
you said in Waxahachie.
Offices in Waxahachie. It's
Office in Waxahachie, but he does projects all around here, I believe in the Ellis County area. Um, but I put his website there where you can reach him, where you can see some of the projects. I believe that's how when we looked and saw some of the projects you were doing, we were just amazed. And you could see some of the projects he's doing. I would advise you, if you're looking to do any kind of project in your home, don't sleep on this organization. Don't sleep on his company. They came out, they did a wonderful job. It was a big job at first for us because we wanted to paint our entire house. You know, when they paint these homes, they don't put any kind of quality paint in them. And so Mr. Cory and his team came in and painted our whole entire home. And I'm a very impatient person. I like things done, 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 done. But they came and they painted the entire house. And so I love it. It's color we wanted. We picked out some great colors. And then he came and did another project for me because I wanted a wall shifted. I wanted a door closed off. I wanted some things, and now we have another project. We have a couple of projects, but a couple of projects that he's and so that tells you about the relationship and the connection that we have, not just as um, for one thing, but and Cory's been on one of my coaching classes, master classes, because we have connected outside of just Blessed Homes renovations and Blessed Home projects. So I want you, if you have anything that you're considering, please reach out to him. But you hear his heart. His heart is that he wants to make sure that people know that he wants to make sure your home is taken care of, that you're taken care of. But Cory, if you had to say one thing to a young man that was looking into business, I do think that this, what you said here, was so important. Fellowship with other believers, time in the Word of God, and a genuine prayer life is so crucial. If you had a young man that was sitting here saying, "Man, I've been thinking about this for so long. I I want to. I wonder if it's possible that if to be a business owner. What would you? How would you encourage him?"
let them know. I mean, coming from where I came from, I never thought in a million years that I would be in this place. But at some point in time, began to believe that life had more to offer than what I was giving myself at that time. And at that point, I began to be motivated and consistently focused and determined on getting something more out of this life. And if you put that same attitude to work for yourself, you'll be amazed at what you're able to accomplish. And I've
Absolutely.
definitely advised them that if you believe in God, again, to share your vision and your dreams for this life, even if you don't have a vision. Hey, God, I don't like being broke. That's where I started. God, I don't like being broke. I gotta be real with you. I don't want to be in a place where I gotta have my hand out and I'm struggling from one place to the next. You be real
Mm-mm,
with God. That's why that
mm-mm.
genuine prayer life is not telling God what you think He wants you to hear. It's telling Him the truth because He already knows, and Him
Yes,
giving
yes.
you an avenue to do it the way that you can keep your head held high. You don't have to be looking over your shoulders. You don't have to be
Mm.
worried about how people are looking at you because you have established yourself as somebody that has a purpose in life and that is bringing purpose to others.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Cory, for coming on and sharing with us tonight. I really appreciate you taking time out of your Tuesday. I don't know if it's your first Tuesday, but I really thank you for taking time out of your family time and your even tonight to share with us here on Tuesday Talk Live. And guys, we'll be back again next week with another um, influential African American leader for this month, which is what I want to highlight all month. But again, Cory, I pray the blessings of God on Blessed Homes Renovations, whether it's roofing, whether it's those amazing projects and this big project you have going on. I'm so excited for you and your company and what God is doing, and that I pray that He open many more doors for you, your family, and your company. God bless you, and you guys have a great night, and we'll see you again on Tuesday Talk Live.
Hey, blessings to you